into our next segment, which I don't know is going to last that long because I don't have much to say about uniform numbers. But for some people, they are uptight about uniform numbers. Now, when I was a kid, I don't know if you were like this. When I first became a sports fan, oh man, I could tell you everybody's jersey numbers, and that was a big deal to me. The best running backs were 32 or 34, maybe 24. The best quarterbacks when I was growing up were 12, and so forth and so on. But I couldn't tell you whose uniform numbers, basically, unless I've seen them play like 3 weeks in a row. But you mentioned to me that there's some angst on social media about Roydell Williams getting number 5. Like that's going to end civilization or something.
Yeah, man. I think I reached that point. It's probably been building up, but I reached that point right now because I did not even look yet at the new number. But I did see a bit of an uproar on Twitter on Roydell's number, as you mentioned. There's a thing, I don't know how old this is, 15 years old maybe, where D linemen, quarterbacks, DBs, it didn't matter. The low numbers, 0 through 10, were like elite numbers. The different coaching staffs, I'm pretty sure, for sure under Willie Taggart, if you had a single-digit number, that meant you were a leader. You had to kind of earn those. Different other places, I don't know that Mike Norvell cares so much more than it's about seniority and, what numbers available. I don't know that he's out here making judgments on players on numbers. I think that's kind of maybe what people were thinking about with Roydell Williams. And look, he got a bad rap. I was hard on him this year. His yards after tackle or initial contact were some of the worst I've ever seen. But I don't know if he was injured or if it was just the fact of the O-line was so bad. Like, he was just trying to push things. But he's coming back, and there's been some video out there of him training. He looks like a freak. He had some good carries towards the end of the year. Fun running back room. We'll see exactly how it goes on there as he pulls up all the single digits. But I'm not that upset with it. I think it'll be all right. It's a generational thing with those low numbers, but that's where the outrage comes. See, Deuce to 0 makes perfect sense. Thomas Castellanos, what you'd think, 1. Squirrel White with the 4. That's a big one for wide receivers these days. Keon Coleman, of course, bore that. 7 for Stephon Thompson. That might tell you a little bit about where he thinks he's going to play in this defense. If he's going to be attacking the edge and be that, I don't even know what they would call that linebacker, the outside linebacker for if you were talking about a 3-4, Stephon Thompson wearing number 7, that makes sense. Christian Jones, we've had some good players at that position. In the limited time that we had the 3-4 with Jeremy Pruitt, Christian Jones fit that thing perfect. It was really a beautiful thing to see. Deontay McCray with number 8, Timmy Jernigan's number, some significance there. It's different, a little different. He was more of a 0 technique. McCray's going to be on one of the end positions if I had to guess. Probably a stronger side for this defense. Kevin Sperry with number 9. Yeah, and that just goes to show you, folks, if you're freaking out about a running back's number or anything else, Kevin Sperry is a true freshman, probably going to redshirt unless something goes wrong. And he got number 9. So that shows you what that means. James Williams, I guess he's your highest rated defensive line recruit, if I'm not mistaken. Big time pass rusher off the edge. We know exactly what he's going to do in that 3-man front. Diamante Diggs gets 13, takes over for Lolo Hea. 6'5" through 260 pounds. Going to be fun to watch. Randy Pittman gets 13 at tight end. Jordan Scott with 14. Hey, that makes sense. You're 6'7", 215 pounds. You take over your old Jordan. Johnny Wilson. Excuse me, Johnny Wilson's number. Tomorrow, Arnaud, one of those guys you flip with 15. Javon Boggs, boy, I'm excited about him. The pain of losing Destin Hill turns into excitement for Javon Boggs. We'll see how early he gets on the field, but I like him at wide receiver. Max Redmond, the defensive back, with 21. Chase Lofton, 23. Caleb Loveley with 29. I love that unassuming number. I can't think of a single player that wore 29. Elijah Herring with 31. Ethan Pritchett, number 35. 51 for Luke Pettibon, perfect for a center. 55 for Gunnar Hansen. 55 for Kevin Wynn. Okay, I like that. Did Jacoby McDaniel wear 55? I hope I don't get eat up. Hope I'm giving a shout out to the right person there. For Kevin Wynn, he's going to be bad. He's going to be fun to watch as a true freshman come in here. If anything I've heard and seen on tape is to lead me to a belief, it's that. Micah Pettis, your other offensive tackle from Ole Miss, 57, 60 from Nash. Adrian Medley with the guardiest guard number of all time, 76. And Trayshawn Guillory, the 6'4", 215-pound, another one of those flips, I believe from Florida, number 83. I don't know. I'm a fan of the numbers. I think they pick numbers that represent former players and people at Florida State. Yeah, pretty good. And I didn't see Roydell up there, the one that everybody was up in arms about. So maybe they let the drama come back to him and he decided to go back to 24.
Yeah, so that must have been. So this is, we want to give due credit. This is coming from FSU Seminoles, and basically jersey numbers, initial measurements released for Florida State football newcomers. So that's all that is telling us.
Oh, that's right. Because I didn't see Edwin Joseph. Edwin Joseph is taking over number 3. So that just covered the newcomers, the portal guys, and the 2025 guys. Not the players on the team that switch numbers. Probably not that many of them, but Roydell Williams is one everybody was upset about, and Edwin Joseph get number 3. Of course, Derwin James wore that number. Ronald Darby before him, if I'm not mistaken. 3 is a big number for DBs around Florida State for sure. So a lot hyped about Edwin Joseph. I don't think there's not a defensive back that people are much higher on than him heading into this year. Somebody who is a redshirt freshman, stepped up as a leader, and is just always, when he's got his opportunities, he's been there. So real excited to see him.
Mike Myrek showing up for us as he always does. Appreciate you, Mike. And a few others here. Richard Bass leaving all sorts of comments. Thank you for encouraging everyone to hit the like button. Asked a question here that Mark and George, do you agree? Gentlemen, do you agree with Coach Norvell having a focus on the trenches like Ryan Day at Ohio State or Kirby Smart? Strong line, strong team. I don't know why he picked out those teams in particular, but
I mean, if you're looking at what you want, of course they're going to go for that. But no, that was the main focus of the rebuild here. It was very clear that it was really important to Mike Norvell to get Gus, but also get Herb Hand. He was possibly going to get that UCF job that held things up for a bit, but they got him in here. And you really rebuilt your entire line of scrimmage. You got 4 starters on the offensive line that are bigger for the most part. Take out the center, but your tackles are bigger. Your one guard's bigger. You get a bigger defensive line pretty much across the board. Darrell Jackson returns. That was a recruitment job to get him from going to the NFL. You upgrade. You get basically 4 defensive ends that are up to snuff and bigger than the 230, 240-pound guys we had here. Most of those guys hit the portal. You see it in high school recruiting. Who they're recruiting now, they're still trying to bring offensive line bodies like we talked about after some top defensive linemen. You already signed your best tackle in almost a decade in Kevin Wynn. So, I definitely think it's all going to be about the line of scrimmages here in the next couple of years. 2 years down the road, if Florida State handles business this year in games, if they can do what Michigan did this year, Florida State can do that. They'll be well on the way to getting back up to being one of the best and most talented teams in the nation. But for now, it's just going to be the focus on that. This isn't Boston College. This isn't somewhere where you're going to get the pat on the back or whatever. But look for them to really focus on running the ball and being physical and figuring that out this year. The transfers and hopefully some young guys start to get in there, but they've certainly flipped it. I haven't added it up, but it's got to be close to 30 offensive linemen and defensive linemen they've brought in between high school and the transfer portal.